The law of agreement. Well, the Lord sees my heart. Sure he does. But the devil sees your priorities. Hello, welcome everyone to this episode of the Law of Agreement series under Visionary for Christ. I am your faithful host, Visionary, and I'm here with another jam-packed episode. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Have you guys been curious to know the specific method the magicians use to perform a magical act? Well, let me shed some light on this witchcraft. The magician casts a spell on the audience to invoke demons who influence the people to see what they need to see. This means the demons create an illusion that makes it seem like an object turned into another or something disappeared. For instance, changing money to a card, people see a card even though it's still money that is there until the illusion is broken. Then it reverts back and they see the real thing. Purple magic is a form of magic that uses illusion. This is because the audience willfully participates, so agrees to the covenant, which allows the demons to enter the people. What you don't know is that the demons follow you home. It's an agreement between Satan and these magicians. They donate souls to Satan and he gives them money and fame. I would like you to know that you also are part of the agreement. I mean, you bought tickets to attend the event, right? Or you're watching the event unfold right in front of you. You even probably cheer the magician on. You do all these things, right? And that shows your agreement. In fact, even if you didn't buy a ticket and you just went there for free, the mere fact that you're watching the event of unfold right in front of you is an agreement. That being said, there are 3 rules of magic, and they are: firstly, no pain, no gain; secondly, lies; and thirdly, secrecy. Money is a spiritual force and has symbols on it, similar to how your passport may have some occult leader or some demonic art form there to show who owns the country. The financial systems are run by the devil's children. I'll speak more on that in an upcoming series known as Spiritual Dimensions that I'll be starting under the Spiritual Diagnosis podcast. For the truth seekers, which is what I call my subscribers, prepare to learn things you never knew existed. Don't discount the information and seek God. He will tell you the same. Back to magicians. Spells have already been cast on the cash, that's the money, that's printed to people through the banking systems. So of course these spells aid the magic trick when cash is used for that purpose. The consent of the audience has already been obtained because the audience willfully participates by buying tickets, then going to the show and watching the actions play out. Even if you aren't physically there and watching from home, it's the same thing. You sleep then dream, and the event plays out in your life. So it's the same concept. Whether you view on the magician show or movie showing magic practices on television, or you're at the location of the magician, you are forging a covenant. God set up this structure to protect you. But when you willfully do these things, you are giving your power to the devil. This covenant allows demons to enter the people, either watching live at the venue or watching playbacks in their living room. I'm going to talk about the general levels of sorcery. Witchcraft is different from magic. Witchcraft is a branch of the occult that is controlled by the demon Verdilet. Verdilet is the demon of the second order, master of ceremonies of the infernal court. Magicians are known to be more powerful than witches. This is because of the access that they have to advanced spell books, otherwise known as grimoires, given to them by Lucifer, and the advanced training some of these people undergo in the various schools of magic that Lucifer has in the spiritual realm. A sorcerer will use any and everything to cast spells on you, because the spells are vast and there are multiple levels of the sorcery. A witch is often limited to the traditional methods of attacking a victim. And to be honest, once you familiarize yourself with the forms of witchcraft attack, you can see the similarities in the form of attack. Witches love generational covenants because that's their major way to cover much grounds in the person's life. What I will be discussing is the general levels of both sorcery, aka magic, which is practiced by magicians or sorcerers, and witchcraft, that is practiced by witches or wizards or false prophets. These groupings have been delineated by Satan to classify the level of authority that he has bestowed upon the practitioner, so they can learn more and work with more power. Satan makes these people shed blood, cause accidents, and all sorts to graduate to new heights. People often increase ranks from one group to the other after working in the previous group for many years. There are fallen angels and hybrid demons presiding over these groups. But my focus is on the humans when explaining this. Hybrid demons are products of sex between a human and a demon or fallen angel in this case. These color groupings are often depicted by the cloth the practitioners wear for ceremonies, and I would describe them from the highest level to the lowest level. The first category is the highest category, and that is purple magic. Very few humans occupy this category because, as I said, it is the highest rank that humans attain. Purple is associated with poison, darkness, gravity, and chaos. The Bible depicts purple as a color of royalty. Purple magic is meant to be based on will, spirit, and force of mind. It focuses greatly around ice. These spells acutely attack single targets or influence the target's minds. Ifer, the demonic chemist, is the one that is responsible for satanic healing of demons and humans. He is a demon chemist and doctor that is knowledgeable about plants, and he's the one that a lot of doctors actually operate and work with. The second category is black magic. People often associate black magic with Africans, but that's just satanic propaganda. The devil has people from other races that are practicing black magic in the highest echelons of his kingdom. The color black is linked to darkness, negative charge of magnetism, and pollutants. The actions of practitioners are driven by envy and they receive no personal gain from their actions. They study the science of witchcraft to gain more spiritual power. They are never ever satisfied, and they need more power and want more. Hecate is the chief goddess in black magic, presiding over magic and spells. She is known as the goddess of magic and witchcraft. She is the child of the Titans, Perseus and Asteria, from whom she received her power over heaven, earth, and sea. Hence, she is a Greek goddess. She is depicted as being dressed in dark robes, holding twin torches in her hands, a poisonous snake hanging from her shoulders, and a ring of keys and a dagger tied around her waist. To some of those who've seen her, she appears as a beautiful ageless woman with long black hair and green or dark eyes. Chthon, an elder god of earth, is the founder of black magic. He created many demonic races to serve him, and his magic were used on earth to create the werewolves, vampires, zombies, the dark hold, aka the book of the damned, or the book of sins. These are ancient and evil books, and basically ancient and evil demons and practices. These books contain powerful magic spells. I'm talking about books such as the dark hold, which is aka the book of the damned, or the book of sins. Books such as this, right, contain powerful dark magic spells, and they are considered the most potent record of dark magic. It's said that anyone who reads it will lose their mind or their soul. The third category is red magic. Red magic is one of the 6 magic elements representing all forms of fire, mass destruction, and power. Red is related to fire, lava, the color of blood, air and wind, related to autumn skies, and positive charge of magnetism. These spells specialize in attacking the entire opposing party while powering up the allied party. The Now You See Me movie depicted a lot of red magic, such as the fire rituals, in a fun way, but there is nothing funny about fire magic. These red magic sorcerers are ready to engage in heinous acts, shedding blood to gain prestige, power, and control. Red dragon magic falls under this category. These witches or sorcerers shed human blood and eat human flesh. They don't forgive and are vengeful Satanists. I actually recently heard of a story of an ex-Satanist that said that he witnessed an event where some Catholic priests in an underground tunnel were actually having a ceremony, and they were eating the blood and flesh of children that they recently killed. So when I'm talking about witches or sorcerers and these categories, don't be expecting in your mind thinking, oh, it's one witch that is flying around in the clouds or one obscene creature. These are human beings I'm talking about. These are just the categories and the levels in which they practice. Right? So back to red witches. They don't forgive and they are vengeful Satanists. Santa, otherwise known as Santa Claus, for instance, is a water demon, and the red signifies the blood that is shed from the end of year rituals. People are killed end of year spiritually, but they are roaming around the earth, right? But they are dead spiritually. Then the death manifests in the beginning months of the year. That's the next year. Jezebel, a siren, ensures that people spend and celebrate the event without understanding the true meaning of Christmas. There's nothing about God in Christmas. There is also a god of comedy and humor in the pandemonium world, which is in the infernal world. Lao Tse, popularly known as Lao Tzu or Lao Tzu, is a demon hybrid, son of Satan. And he's also a dragon that dwells in the 36th chamber of Shaolin. He's the founder of Taoism and the initiator of red magic. There are so many movies that depict red magic, including 36 Chamber of Shaolin and the 7 Secrets of Kung Fu. And to be honest, there are actually other movies that depict red magic. And I think I've said it previously that Now You See Me Rather movie actually depicts red magic. So, at least some part of it in terms of fire magic, that's the fire rituals that they were doing on the stage. Right? So while they were not eating blood and eating flesh on stage, that would have been too obvious and too grotesque. What they were doing is actually using red magic as well. Now, the last, but I was going to say but not the least, but actually it is the least, is white magic. Pure white, normally, right, is tied to holiness, which is why I believe the counterfeit, which is false religion, right, depicts false prophets getting power from the spirit of the water, right? They fall under this white magic category. White witchcraft rationalizes and explains away their action of seeking personal gain. The users of white witchcraft, they do not often view themselves as practitioners of the dark art, but we all know that that is a lie. Aside these 4 levels, there are numerous colors that represent magical properties of witchcraft, such as blue magic or yellow magic. Check the symbolism and even the name. Blue magic lets you know who owns the product. Blue magic is about the power of control. Blue is all about not letting your opponent make his moves and ensuring that you solidify your own move. Be wary of a hair product by that name, because the name lets you know that the product is from the marine kingdom. I'm going to be speaking now about the link between language and false gods. Let me say something that may shock you, but I want you to put your thinking caps on. This podcast is not about shocking you. I'm not doing this for shock value. This is about revealing the truth, my truth seekers. So, subscribers, get ready for more revelation in the next couple of minutes. Do you know that there is a direct link between languages and the occult? Did you know that? I will use the Yoruba language for example, but please don't take this example as if it pertains to Yoruba alone. No, it pertains to almost every language, including yours. I'm just using the Yoruba language as an example. We were taught in school that Oduduwa founded Yoruba religion. Doesn't this remind you about a similar religion that the prophet claimed was handed down to him by an angel of God? Stories of Oduduwa's arrival at Ile-Ife and his children's subsequent migration into new territories mark the beginning of Yoruba history studies from Ajayi Crowther and Samuel Johnson onwards. Another legend states that Olodumare sent Oduduwa from heaven to create the solid earth and the human race. In the legend, Oduduwa descends to earth on a long chain and lands at Ile-Ife, where he establishes solid ground and plants the first seed. This tradition establishes Ile-Ife as the cradle of the Yoruba and Oduduwa as the Yoruba's progenitor or first ancestor. Doesn't this remind you of an imitation of God's creation story? Satan loves to imitate God a lot to deceive people. Why do you think so many traditional scriptures are related to Ife, the Yoruba, the Benin, and African traditional religion? This is not just a tale of Nigeria or Africa, but investigate your own culture and you will see a lot of things are from the occult. These myths and folklores are ways that the messages of Satan are transmitted to subsequent generations and bloodlines to maintain the strongholds and evil covenants that were made with our ancestors. Another tale depicts Oduduwa as a female. In this tale, Oduduwa is the chief goddess of the Yoruba, the creator. She represents the earth. She's the wife of Obatala, but she's contemporary with Olorun, not made by him as was her husband. She came from Ife, the holy city, in common with most of the other gods. Obatala and Oduduwa represent one androgynous divinity, an image of a human being with one arm and leg and a tail terminating a spear. But generally, Obatala and Oduduwa are regarded as two distinct persons. Oduduwa is both a primordial divinity and a deified ancestor. Oduduwa was the creator of the earth and its inhabitants as a result of Obatala's failure through drunkenness to carry out Olodumare's injunction. Obatala and Oduduwa, or heaven and earth respectively, resemble two large cut calabashes which, when once shut, can never be opened. All these tales sound so mythical, right? But anybody that reads between the lines knows that these are just perforations, right, of the real origin story that God tells us in the Bible. Let's examine Nehemiah 13:23-26. In those days, I also saw that the Jews had married women from Ashdod, Ammon, and Moab. As for their children, half spoke in the language of Ashdod, and none of them was able to speak the language of Judah, but the language of his own people. So I contended with them and cursed them, and struck some of them and pulled out their hair, and made them swear by God. You shall not give your daughters to their sons, nor take of their daughters for your sons, or for yourselves. Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin regarding these things? Yet among the many nations, there was no king like him, and he was loved by his God, and God made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, the foreign women caused even him to sin. The above passage was in respect of God's disdain for mixed marriages, marrying outside the will of God, and basically marrying an unbeliever. But do you notice how emphasis was placed on the children of such unions not being able to speak the language of Judah? Why was it important for them to speak the language that God associated with his people? If God created all languages, why was that highlighted? And why was it an issue if these children couldn't speak the language of Judah? This tells you that language is important and is associated with who you serve in terms of who your God, or lowercase g God, is. Are you following my line of thought? Let's continue. The only time in the Bible that God used multiple languages was to confuse those who were constructing the Tower of Babel or Babylon in Genesis 11:7. This tells us that the advent of multiple languages for people was to bring confusion and indoctrinate people to serve the traditional gods that brought these languages. If you don't believe me, then I ask you this pertinent question. Why are occult practices deeply rooted in the traditional language and practices of various people from all over the world? Do you think the real God who made us gave us several languages infused with traditional defiling practices? I don't think so. People of God, we defile ourselves by practicing doctrines of the devils. Ritualistic practices, cultural norms, superstitions, and worship of false gods are tied to religion, and not only religion but language. Language is an identifier of which god or lowercase g god that people belong to. Why do people from a certain culture tend to serve a certain god, and another person from a different culture within the same country is serving another god? What is the rationale of having people from the same country speak different languages, whereby those who don't speak English can't understand each other? Why didn't God give the Israelites multiple languages, but they all spoke one common language? God is not an author of confusion, so no way would he create all these languages which will separate people from the same country and even from all around the world from one another. You may say, oh, but visionary, some of these languages existed even in the time of Noah. I don't dispute that. I'm just saying fallen angels existed, right, as far back as that time as well. Was it not in Noah's time that evil spirits were sleeping with human women and producing giants? You think they didn't teach the humans anything? That's food for thought. Within the Yoruba tribes, there are many Yoruba dialects that even if someone is Yoruba, you may not understand the other Yoruba dialect. Who do you think is creating all this confusion? The creation of multiple languages is likened to the creation of multiple religions, including pseudo-Christian religions. Surely, Paul and other disciples of Jesus were not preaching diluted gospel. So where did the dilution come from? By no means am I saying that if you speak a certain language, you are sinning against God. No, you aren't. What I am saying is that you should not be so quick to accept certain practices, even if you've done it all your life, but question the source of these practices. Should we as Christians celebrate birthdays, New Year, Easter, Halloween, New Year's Day, Valentine's Day, Feast of the Saints, etc.? The answer to all of this is no. We should not, because the Bible tells us in the New Testament not to observe calendar days. Search the origin of all these traditions and you'll see Satan's fingerprints all over them. I'm going to be speaking now on the chosen ones, the hexagram, and revealing the real Jesus to you. Why all the confusion I spoke about before? You may ask. Let me tell you. Come closer. Let me whisper to you. Blacks are the chosen people of God that represent the Israelites. Did you hear me, people? Let me say it now for the people at the back. Blacks are the chosen people of God that represents the Israelites. I am not saying that Jesus doesn't love white people equally, but I am saying that the people of God in the historical period were black. I've done my research. I love all races of God because He created us all. I conducted a deliverance session last week, and after dealing with other spirits, I called up Jezebel, the spirit who had been harassing this woman, along with Mami Water. I asked Jezebel why she hated black people so much, because I had seen her in so many deliverance sessions, and these were her words and not mine. Because you are the chosen ones. This was after she tried to give me a lame reason that we sin a lot, and I asked her not to insult my intelligence. So I asked her, white people don't sin? When I posed this question and commanded her with the power of the Holy Ghost to reveal the truth and nothing but the truth, she gave me the real reason. Look, People of God, the devil is after everyone, but he is after black people with more vigor than anything. Why are wigs and hair loss associated with black women? Why do you think a lot of black men are incarcerated? Why are a lot of black women either single, with masculine tendencies or anger issues, or all of the above? Why is the term baby mama associated with black women? Why the intentional destruction of the image of the successful black couple as if they are none that exist? It's like the media is working overtime to spin this tale that black men don't marry black women. When I see black couples every single day in North America, why the association of poverty with black families? Why do black people find it difficult to leave wealth for their family, but instead the young feeds the old, which the Bible said is a curse and should be the other way around? I'm not saying a young person should not give to their parents, because God expects you to give to your family. But if as a young adult, the money you send home is for sustenance of your parents and not as an extra token of appreciation, then there's foundational issues there. All I'm saying is don't shy away from deliverance to break the pattern. I have news for you, my subscribers, which I like to call my truth seekers. When I saw Jesus, he wasn't the white man that is depicted in pictures. The only thing they got right is that he indeed wears long flowing white regalia. That's all they got right. This imagery of this false Jesus is Satan's agenda. In Song of Solomon 1:5, Solomon said he was black. He didn't say I am white. He said he is black. The passage reads, I am black but lovely, O daughters of Jerusalem, like the tents of Kedar, like the curtains of Solomon. Right? So, I will leave you with that to ponder. Initially, I heard a testimony actually. I think that was like many months ago. And then someone was saying, oh, I saw Jesus, right? And he was black. And I think I just like scoffed at that testimony. I was like, no, like seriously? Because normally I hate hearing the word like the chosen ones. I actually feel like Jesus accepts all of us, right? But of course, when people use the term chosen one, they use it sometimes, right, in an obscure manner. But when Jezebel, the spirit, was talking to me, she meant chosen ones, saying that like the Israelites in that period were actually blacks. So I understand the chosen one as that, basically the people of Israelites in the old times, right, which is obviously descendants, we are descendants of them, are blacks. So basically the whole historical depiction of the Israelites is just now a lie that the people, that Satan basically knows why he has spun this tale. So before I used to scoff and say, oh, you know, people are just saying that he's black, I didn't believe that. And the reason why I didn't believe that is because as a seer, the relationship I have is so close with the Holy Spirit, right? So even when God came to me and speaks to me, I'm seeing the God form in the Holy Spirit. So aside the fact that I had actually not had a personal encounter with Jesus. Like I know so many people, is Jesus they actually have encounters with, is Jesus they see like occasionally, right? A lot of Christians online that are like ministers of God, is Jesus that they actually have like contact with, right? But I actually have contact with the Holy Spirit as a seer, right? I'm close to the Holy Spirit, things like that. And even though I love Jesus, we all do, but it wasn't like I've seen him, right? I couldn't say, oh, I've seen him in person, right? So, but months ago, all that changed when I actually had like a revelation with Jesus and I saw him physically, like, and he actually appeared. And one of the things I noticed, I was like, wait, he's not white. I saw him, the depiction of how he is and like how he dresses, that people say the way he dressed, like all these movies that they put out. right? He indeed wears like long flowing gown. At least he did wear it when I saw him. But the point was that his skin was very close to mine when I was looking at him. Like in terms of texture, or maybe I should not say texture, but in terms of color is what I mean. Do you get? So I was like, this Satan, which is aka the media, because Satan rules the media and entertainment and all that. He has been feeding the world with so many lies. Like so many lies. I had to be unlearning everything that I've learned for in my entire life. Like when God is like teaching you, like just dust off all the things that you've learned and let me tell you the truth. Like when you find out the truth. And the thing about it is that if you are someone that wants to read the Bible and you take the Bible like it is truth and you read it from beginning to the end, all the lies that Satan has spun to the people, even the people in your territory, right, it will all be unraveled when you read the Bible. But the problem with people is that they are not reading the Bible. That's the thing. They're not looking at these false prophets, false pastors as their gateway to heaven. And I'm here to tell you that the Bible I know that I read tells me that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and that no one comes to the Father except by Jesus. So, I hope you know that that definition does not include pastor so and so, prophet this and that. So you will stand account for your own activities and with your children as well on Judgment Day. So I am here with my podcast, Rebirth in Christ, not to come and spin fancy tales and tell you lies, but to tell you the truth and nothing but the truth. So it was when I saw Jesus and had that encounter with him that I now said, oh, so the testimony I heard like many moons ago, I don't remember if it was even this year itself, but I know it's like a long time ago that I heard that testimony, maybe like months ago, maybe end of last year. And I was like, oh, so this Christian person was actually telling the truth. And I scoffed at the person. I was like, oh, like seriously? But the person was actually telling the truth. So, moving on. The hexagram is made of 6 sides to its inner hexagon, 6 points at its tip, and is made of 6 triangles, which form 666, the number of the beast. I am going to use the words allegedly to protect my platform. Allegedly, the Zionist leaders that are in positions of power, which took over Israel, are members of the synagogue of Satan, which is why Israel bears the hexagram on its flag. Jesus spoke about them in Revelation 2:9 and Revelation 3:9. Allegedly, the Jews in modern day terms are primarily descendants of Ashkenazi Jews who converted to Judaism in the 9th and 10th century. Allegedly, in the early 1900s, that's 1900s, the true Hebrews were taken on ships from Africa and sold as the S word, where they had been scattered after the Roman general. Titus invaded and captured Jerusalem in 70 AD. Allegedly, the Roman army attacked from the north, forcing the people of Israel to flee south into Africa, where they continued to migrate and settle. This African S trade was a fulfillment of Bible prophecy of Deuteronomy 28:68. Allegedly, the goal of international Zionism, a Luciferian political ideology, is to control the world from Jerusalem, Israel, and establish the Antichrist over humanity. While we are on the subject of hexagram, there is no such thing as Star of David and Key of Solomon in Christianity. These are occult symbols and grimoires, which are spell books for magical demonic summoning associated with the Key of Solomon. The Key of Solomon is not the same key as the engraved ring that God gave Solomon to tame and imprison demons as described in the Testament of Solomon of the Apocrypha. Citizens of God, be vigilant and keep fighting the good fight. The devil, your adversary, is roaring like a lion, looking for whom to devour. Close your doors and be on fire for the Lord. Take up your battle weapons, including your full armor, to fight the adversary. Until next time, subscribers, be blessed.